Hey guys, what's up? It's Duckmec here and welcome back to another video. Today we are covering off Plaguefall in the Mythic Guide series. So these guides are aimed at newer tanks moving into the plus 10 affix and moving up to their plus 15 achievement, how to handle Prideful, what kind of pulls will be expected if you are going into that pug environment, and just to try and make you feel as comfortable as possible as you can in this dungeon. So getting into this one, Plaguefall has been one of the most requested dungeons. It's generally a little tricky with trash, but it's not as bad as this dungeon seems once you have a handle on the route. And actually the timer is quite forgiving in here as well. So the stigma attached to Plaguefall realistically isn't as bad as it is. So we're going to start off, you don't have to pull any of this opening trash in this front area here. So you can actually just run all the way through here. There's going to be a plague rock that's going to fly out. You do not want to pull this plague rock at all. Throughout this whole dungeon, we're never pulling any plague rocks. They're absolutely toxic. Don't pull any of them. So the opening pull is going to be this decaying flesh giant, the fungal mancer, the stormer, and the soldier. So this is going to be our opening pull here. So the decaying flesh giants, they're going to leave a void zone on the ground that you just don't want to stand in. They'll also attempt to cast creepy crawlers. If this gets off, it spawns 3 mobs. They melee fairly hard. You want to ensure that if they get spawned, using your active mitigation, you're picking them up, and just that's pretty much it. But obviously it's a pretty easy kick to get. You just don't want to let creepy crawlers get through. The fungal stormers, they'll frequently cast, let me get it here. They'll frequently cast Fungi Storm. This is a channeled cast that deals Ooga Booga damage to everyone in the party. It can only be stunned or disorientated, so asphyxiates, leg sweeps, incap roars, blinding light, storm bolts. You get where I'm going here. Things like death grip and typhoons won't actually stop the channel, as it can still be channeled whilst moving, so you do need to use your stuns on it. The fungal mancers, they will cast Wondergrow and Binding Fungus. So Wondergrow will buff everything nearby, but this can also be spell stolen by a mage. So if you do have a mage in your group, let that go through. The mage can steal it for extra damage. If not, you need to make sure that you kick it. It will immediately recast if you use something like Asphyxiate or Incap Roar on it, so just be aware of that. Binding Fungus will root someone in place until it is kicked, which with the decaying flesh giant and the void zones that get left on the ground, obviously that can be a recipe for disaster there. So you just want to make sure you're kicking that if that's the case there. Yeah, so that's the first pull. Little bit intensive, but as long as you're getting your kicks on the fungal mancer there, and the fungi stormer, making sure that you're getting that storm, you shouldn't have too many issues. Second pull here is going to be, you can do either one of these. Second pull here is going to be the 1 soldier, 1 stormer, and 1 harvester. So the new mob in this pack is the harvester. They'll cast Doom Shroom. So they'll cast this Doom Shroom here. It's pretty much a bait cast in a lot of ways, because you've got other things to prioritize in these pulls. Just let it go through and simply move away from the mushroom. It's worth noting as well that the Doom Shroom will actually spawn on someone. So if you've got ranged and things like that, they can just bait the Doom Shroom out. It'll spawn and you can all just move away from it. Next pull, we've got a Fungal Mancer, a Soldier, and a Stormer here. So first pull, second pull, third pull, and then we're just going to run straight up the middle here. We don't need to pull any of these packs into these gushing slimes here. Now, with the gushing slimes, with the slimes, you can do this however you want. You can half it, you can pull them all at once, whatever you're comfortable with. When they die, they explode and they leave green pools on the ground, so just be aware of that. You also don't want to, while you're chaining this and kiting away, pull one of these plague belchers. The plague belchers kind of give you a preview to what the first boss is like. They have a plague belch, which you don't want to stand in front of. It's a giant frontal that goes out, and they'll also beckon slimes, which will move towards the plague belcher itself. You don't want to let the slimes reach it, so you can either kite it away or your group can kill the slimes. You've got 2 of them to deal with. Pull 1 at a time, and then you're on to the first boss. Now, before when we kill the second plague belcher, we'll actually get our first 20% prideful. So we'll kill the prideful, and then we'll be moving into our first boss, Globrog. So Globrog can get out of hand fairly quickly with shitty ad management. You want to assign somebody to CC the large slime. So he's going to spawn one large slime, and then he's going to beckon 3 smaller slimes. You want to have someone assigned to CC the big ooze, and it'll always spawn in the closest area of slime to where you currently have the boss. So you want to use traps if you've got a hunter, paralysis, blind with a rogue, roots with a druid, whatever you've got to hard CC it in place is what you want to be doing, because you don't want to waste time killing the big slime. The safe option is then when he does beckon slime with the 3 smaller slimes, is to have your DPS switch and kill the 3 smaller slimes, so you don't have to worry about that. If you're in a more coordinated group, you can have your DPS slow the 3 slimes and just kite the boss away from them, and that way you don't ever have to worry about killing the 3 slimes. It just depends on your group coordination. He'll also have a Plague Stomp, which is a knockback. You can use Death's Advance to avoid this or to immune the knockback, and then you can also use your anti-magic shell to immune the dot that the Plague Stomp applies as well. The last thing, he'll also have a slime wave. You just need to make sure whichever way he's facing and casting that you don't get hit by it. So that is pretty much it, guys. So we'll have a look at the VOD now, and I'll take you through what we've just talked about on MDT. All right, so bringing up the VOD here. So here's our start. The key's about to start. We're going to move down to the start here. As I said, you'll be able to see this plague rock that's up there. It's going to fly out in front of us. You don't need to do anything. Just don't pull it is basically it. Waiting for this giant just to move in a little bit closer so I don't pull that other pack on the left, and then we're going into this one. Now this is an inspiring week, so it's a little bit annoying. Inspiring, a couple of annoying locations in here. So you can see the binding fungus that is going off, that's got someone rooted in place at the moment that we couldn't kick while inspiring was up. Inspiring mob's dead, so we could get a quick kick on it. The fungal storm also started up there as well. I'll just take you back so you can see. So you can see the stormer here, this fungal storm going off here, the fungi storm. With inspiring and things like that, where you can't CC the mobs, you pretty much just have to wear the damage through there, which we didn't have any problems whatsoever. And we're just burning through the rest of this. Creepy crawlies got off there, the cast, so not great, but we actually managed to kill them. They don't have a lot of health. If they do melee you, they do hit quite hard, but otherwise, yeah, there's not too many issues. Now you can see, as I said on the MDT as well, you've got an option of which pack you want to pull first. Honestly, it doesn't matter, but you can hug the inside and pull this pack first if you wanted to, and then go into this one, or you can go this one. It really doesn't matter. We just elect to go over to this side first. So we've got the Harvester, the Stormer, and the Soldier here. Again, this will be the Fungal Storm. So you can see here, we've got no stun available for that one, or Cap Totem went off last minute, sorry. But I had grip up, but grip doesn't do any good. Remember, here comes the Doom Shroom. So you can see that Doom Shroom just spawns out of the ground there and does a big explosion. All you need to do is just move out of the way on it. So there's no reason to really to set a kick to it. It's just kind of a waste. You're far better off kicking everything else that's coming out and just moving away from the Doom Shroom, as it's slow. It takes a while to explode. You've got easily enough time to move yourself, the party, and the mobs away. So we're going into this next one, which is going to have the Fungal Mancer, the Soldier, and the Stormer in it again. So again, the biggest management point is always that Fungal Storm, or that Fungi Storm, as it does a heap of damage, and you just want to be able to make sure that you've got asphyxiates for it. So you can see I asphyxed it there, stops the cast straight away. It puts it on an internal cooldown, so it won't automatically recast it or anything like that. And then you just want to get that mob down ASAP. Yeah, there's not much else to these ones, so I'm just going to skip through this because this is going to be a fairly long dungeon. So we're getting through that, and then we're just going to move up to the middle here, and we're just going to run between these two packs. So you don't need anything special to get through here. You can just run straight up the middle and into these. So into the slimes now. So I think my aim originally, because I didn't have much, was actually to pull this in 2 pulls, and then I think I had mists come up, so we were kind of like, bugger it, we'll just pull it all. So I think there's 2 inspiring slimes in here, which is a little bit annoying, but again, they don't have a lot of health. As long as you're moving out of the green, they do explode, as I said, and you can see now, you can see I moved back just too far. This is where you have to be really careful of your positioning. Here's this Plague Belcher down here. Probably can't see it very well, but it's at the bottom of the screen down here. I've moved too far back instead of probably going this way, which means that I pull the Plague Belcher. Now it's fine, but you need to be fairly coordinated in regards to dealing with the slimes as well as these. Now these die really quickly, so it wasn't an issue at all. But just be aware of that. If you pull the slimes at the start and then you start kiting and you pull it straight into a Plague Belcher, if you're in a pug and things like that, it can get pretty ugly really quickly by doing that. Here comes the Plague Belch, so just making sure we're not standing in front of that frontal there. The slimes are coming towards it. We've got them rooted, slowed, whatever you've got. Any time that you don't have to waste DPS on killing the slimes is favorable, because you're just not wasting time in killing the slimes when you can just be killing the Plague Belcher. So they're hard CC'd with mass entanglement there, or roots, or whatever we got on them, and it's not an issue. So killing those, and then we're going to go grab the last of these slimes and the last Plague Belcher here. So same again, the slimes, they'll explode and drop their little pools at the end, and we're going to just finish up them. We're going to grab this last Plague Belcher. Same stuff again on the Plague Belcher, not standing in the belch, just kiting away from the slimes. We're going to kill that, and then we're going to get our first 20% prideful here. So here's our first prideful. So there's only one instance here, and I think it's the 40% prideful, which is in a bit of an awkward spot on this route. The route that I'm showing you today is really pug friendly. It's really safe. It's very easy. It doesn't require anything special to be able to do in regards to skips, shrouds, or anything like that. There is the 40% prideful though, I think, which is in a bit of an awkward position where you don't really get great value. The rest are all before the bosses, which in Plaguefall is generally the best way to go, regardless if it's Fort or Tyrant, I sort of feel. So first prideful goes down, and then we're off to the first boss. So as I mentioned, you want to have one person dedicated to hard CCing the big slime. You can see, because I've got the boss pretty much where he's standing, or where he starts, sorry. The slime is going to spawn just behind him. There's the big slime wave that comes out, just making sure that you are not standing in that. And then as soon as the first slime spawns, so here's the Plague Stomp. So I've used Death's Advance to make sure I didn't get the knockback. So this boss is absolutely melted too, because the DPS was pretty huge in this group. Here comes the Beckon Slime now. So we're going to get the big slime is going to be behind us, and we're going to have our 3 others trailing in from the other side of the arena. So you can see the big slime has been rooted. And next, we're just going to make sure that we've got roots out there. We've got mass entanglement going on with the smaller ones. When that breaks, if that had broken, whatever, we would have just been slowing them and making sure that we were kiting away. You can see I use AMS on that Plague Stomp, pretty much alternating Death's Advance and AMS is the play here as well. The Plague Stomp will put a dot on you, so using AMS just before the Plague Stomp is about to go off will actually immune the dot that goes from the Plague Stomp, so it's just a little bit of more breathing room for your healer not to have to worry about. So the first boss is down, and then we're off to the second area. So we'll flick back to the MDT. All right, so we're moving back to the MDT here. So we've just finished up Globrog. We're going to move down into this next area. Now, this next area down here, sort of on the way to Ikis, a lot of groups can become really unstuck, and they can do a lot of unfavorable things rather than making their life really easy. So the big thing through this next area are these unstable canisters, because what you can do is you can actually blow them up with the trash on top of them, which in turn damages and kills the trash a lot quicker. It also leaves a really nasty dot on the mobs, whatever gets hit. The plague borers as well will also blow up when you kill them, which you can also use to kill the trash in this area. So this area, this whole area here, is just about being smart with your canisters and your borers and trying to maximize their explosions in killing your other trash. So moving into this area, again, we don't want to pull this plague rock. This run goes a little bit sour in regards to percent optimization, but I'm going to talk to you about what we should have done on the MDT, and then in the video I'll show you what happens and how we adjusted. So coming out of this first area, we're going to pull this spine breaker here, and then these 4 slime claws, or 3 slime claws, sorry, and there's a canister here as well. So this is going to be our first pull here. Now the spine breakers, they hit really, really hard, so just be aware of that. The melee hits from these guys, they hit really hard. They'll do this jagged spines, which spines come out of the ground. You just need to make sure that you're dodging them. They'll also do a frontal cone breath called Festering Belch. You just need to make sure that you avoid that as well. The slime claws, They've got these corroded claws, which is just nature damage, reduces your stats by 5% as well. So you just need to watch out for that, because obviously that's going to have issues. The biggest issue with these slime claws is that at 20% health, they run away. When they run away, they can social aggro mobs near them as well. Some of the mobs, when they run away, sometimes don't do it. These ones, if they get near something else, they will aggro it. The big problem with this pack here is this plague rock here, because it is such a close proximity. And what happens on ours is one of these slime claws runs away and at proximity aggroes the plague rock, and then that turns our world a little bit upside down. So you need to be ready with stuns, grips, mass grips, slows, whatever you can to make sure they don't run in that direction. After this pull here, we would then be doing this next pull here in red, because this one here pats all the way down. So when it was patting down, we would be pulling the plague binder, the slime, and then these two plague borers here. Again, trying to make the most of the plague borers with their plague bomb when they explode in killing the rest of the stuff here. So the plague binders and the plague borers, they apply a root called gripping infection. So you want to make sure that you're kicking that whenever you can. They'll also have a slow on you as well called wretched phlegm, which can cause issues. And when you're blowing the mobs up with either the barrels or the explosion from the borers, which can sometimes give people issues in getting out of that. So just be aware of that, making sure that you're reacting sort of accordingly in regards to that. So we're going to do this pull here. Then when the pack comes back up, we're going to pull this one. So another 2 plague borers, a plague binder, and there's a canister here that we can use to blow them up. Then what we're going to do is run to the other side of this rock, and we're going to pull this plague binder and the double rotting slime claws. Then we're going to do 1 slime pull down here, and there's a canister here. So 3 slimes onto this canister here. Then if you had a rogue, you would just shroud through to this like section here, which is fully safe. If you don't have a rogue though, you can actually just run along the outside wall here. Now this spine breaker here pats all the way up and down. You want to wait until it's padded all the way to here. You're on this little ledge here, and then you'll just simply run around. We're going to take these 2 slime claws into this tentacle down here. And then again, you can see there's canisters littered through here. There'll be plague borers running through here. You just want to make sure the canisters, the plague borers are getting blown up with the tentacles here. You can do this last tentacle with the slime tentacles. Just make sure that someone's always in melee range of them. They'll spam plague bolts if someone is not in melee range of them. They can also grip a target and pick them up in the air. Just make sure you use a stun immediately when that happens as well. So then we're going to get to our named mob, Virilax Blightweaver here. Same again, there's going to be plague borers running through this, and there's going to be 2 barrels on either side of him up here. We're just going to want to use them to explode him as quickly as we can. And then we're going to leg it down the stairs with the 2 plague borers that will spawn down here and run up as we do that. What we want to do is we want to pull, it doesn't matter which platform you pull, we're doing 1 platform at a time. We want to pull them across, get interrupts on these. We want to get them across here, and we want to use the plague borers when they explode to kill this trash for us ASAP as well. Just saving us time, meaning we don't have to kill the trash as quick. So you just need to make sure that you're getting interrupts on the plague borer. The slime will go over on itself. The slime does do a cast as well. I'm not sure which slime does a cast. One of them does a slime. One of the slimes does a cast. So you do need to get kicks to drag them over. Or it might only be the plague binder on that one, and it might be the 2 plague binders over here where you need a double kick to get them over. But either way, get them over, kill them with the plague borer explosion, and then just doing 1 platform at a time. And then you can just run around the back here, and you can do the last 2, the spine breaker and the plague binder. Again, with the spine breaker, just watch out for the jagged spines, watch out for the frontal. Remember, it melees hard, and when they die as well, I should have mentioned on the first one up here, you'll need to run over the little things that are going through metamorphosis to make sure that that doesn't get off. So once you've finished up that, you'll be on to the second boss, Dr. Ikis. Now, one thing I didn't mention, guys, here is our 40% prideful. So remember how I said 40% prideful was in a bit of an awkward spot? After this pack here is where you'll spawn your 40% prideful. So it's pretty awkward because you'll just run around the side and you'll drag these 2 down into the tentacle. You're not getting great value out of it, but that's where the 40% prideful is going to be. The 60% prideful is going to come after you kill these two. So you'll kill these two here. You'll do prideful on the platform, sort of like on the stairs or at the back here. The boss won't reach you. And then you'll take that prideful straight into Dr. Ikis. Now, Dr. Ikis, again, can cause issues for pugs. It generally comes down to priority damage and management of the oozes and the bombs, pretty much. So as a DK, it's worth mentioning that you can AMS the debuff applied by all the oozes. The boss will leap around. You always want to try and be within melee range of it when it's actually set on the platform. If you are not in melee range of it, he will cast this burning strain, which he'll just repeatedly spam cast. All you can do though is if you are away and he casts it, you can just make sure you get an interrupt on it and just move back into melee range. Once the boss jumps from the first platform, when you engage to the second platform, he will spawn an explosion, this bomb, and your whole group needs to ensure that they kill that before the timer goes off. Otherwise, you're pretty much going to be dead. The boss will also cast a purple slime, which is a congealed slime, and the purple ooze reduces damage taken by anything near it by 75%. So you need to make sure that this is away from the bomb that your group is trying to kill. Otherwise, you're reducing the damage that bomb is taking by 75%, which is obviously far from ideal. And then what you want to do is have your group then switch once they finish the bomb to killing the purple ooze. And that's pretty much the rinse repeat for this fight, especially in pugs. Kill the bomb, kill the purple slime, kill the boss. Now in an organized group, what you can do, and this kind of depends on key level, is that when the purple ooze, once the explosion's done, when the purple ooze is the only one left up, you as the DK can either run away when the boss jumps and grip the ooze over and then have it hard CC'd out of the encounter zone. You can typhoon it out or something like that if you've got a druid, or punt it out with an NG belt or whatever and hard CC it out in the slime, out in here somewhere. And then you can just focus the boss. Depending on key level, you may want to kill the first purple slime, and then when the boss goes to the next platform for the next explosion, you would then CC the second congealed slime that comes up, the second purple one you're dealing with. The idea is to not have to be managing two at the same time though. The boss will also jump around and will do an axis of these green circles. Whichever way he's facing is where it's going. It's a little bit annoying to try and judge that northeast southwest line from where he's facing, especially catching it in the air, but that's how that works. You just don't want to stand in it. So that's pretty much it on Ikis. Shouldn't have too many problems, but as the tank, make sure that you keep the purple slime away from the explosion when they're killing that, so you're not reducing that time and reducing the damage that's going into killing that explosion. So let's go back to the VOD here and we'll have a look. So we're coming out of the first boss and we're moving down into this area. Now remember how I said things went a little bit pear-shaped? I'm going to show you how that works now. So we're pulling, here's the canister. So remember, the canisters blow up, and that's where we're going to be trying to maximize killing these. So the canister is blowing up now, and you can see how much damage it's going to do to these slime claws once it goes off. It does a fair bit of damage. They're all melting now. They hit a 10-second dot on them as well. So that really kills, sort of, you know, it takes a lot of time from this trash off for you, especially as you go through higher keys on the higher forts. The spine breaker here, you'll be able to see how hard it melees. Now, here's what happens, right? Can you see at 20%, remember how I said that these spine claws will run away at 20%? There's this Plaguefall that's sleeping over here that you do not want to pull at any expense whatsoever. Now, I'll admit, like, I was getting pretty chunked by this spine breaker. I wasn't even looking where old mate was going. So what I should have done, got grip up, grip that over here, and then we would have been fine. What ends up happening is we get the Plaguefall. Now, the Plaguefall absolutely screws with all our percent. The Plaguefall really hurts as well, okay? So Plaguefalls do an enormous amount of damage. You can see the spine breakers going out, those circles on the ground from the spine breaker, or the jagged spines, or whatever they're called. Just making sure we're not standing in those. The Plaguefall will do this beak, break beak or plague beak ability or something like that. Here's that metamorphosis as well. When you run over these, you actually take damage as well. There's the wretched phlegm that comes out, which is the slow. So you just need to make sure that you're getting over those metamorphoses that drop from the breaker when he dies. But the Plaguefall absolutely chunks. So this would have been fine had we not had got the Plaguefall. It just means, you know, it's not the end of the world, but it screws with your percent. It means that you have to kite a lot. The plague rock will absolutely own you. We ended up getting half that other pack I wanted to do as well with the 3 slimes. We didn't get the other 2 that are involved in that pack, but yeah, we still make this work, but our percent I think ends off about 0.5 short when we jump down, which means at the very end of this key we have to come up and kill 1 mob, which was really annoying, but that's just the way it goes. So normally we would go and clear this pack down here, remember, because we wouldn't have got the plague rock. There would have been the slimes that we pulled up here as well. We would have killed that, then we would have come back, killed this side, and then we would have killed this 1 slime pack down here. Nobody knows. When we were doing this, nobody had any idea how much the plague rock would affect our percent in regards to what we needed to kill instead of it. You can see the corroded claws as well when that comes out, the stat reduction. So you just want to make sure that, you know, if you can avoid them, you can be kiting away, otherwise be stunning them and things like that. It does stack, so you know, the more hits of corroded claws you take. I'm at 10% stat reduction right now, so you just need to watch out for that. So we're going to kill them, and we're going to do this slime pack down the bottom, because right now we were talking about how on earth we could fix our percent. So we're trying to get this canister here. So we're going to try and blow these slimes up on the canister. So just trying to get them in. Tree ants have gone down as well in regards to helping that. So we're just going to move out here. So the explosion goes off, the dot gets put on them, and you can see, you know, how much damage the dot sort of does on them. They ramp down fairly quickly. And then we're going to grab, we're still talking about it now, we really want Prideful here. So we're going to grab this double pack that is up the to the left of us. So we're talking about it right now in key, which is always good. We decide we're going to grab this inspiring one on the slime. So we're just waiting for them to pat back around, and then I'm going to go and grab them. And we were sort of hoping that this would have been enough, but as I said, in the end it worked out that we were 0.5% short. But I'll talk to you guys about that as we get down. So we've got a slime, the gripping infection going off here, remember, which is the stun that stuns you in place, so you want to make sure you're kicking that. The plague binder will be casting those pestilent bolts as well. Just kick whatever you can, but yeah, getting them down. And then we're going to grab our 40% Prideful here. So 40% Prideful, we're going to kill our Prideful here. So our Prideful timing still worked out. It was just that we should have been 40.5 at least by the time we got here, and we're 40% dead. So now this is what I was talking about. If you've got a rogue, you can shroud and go straight up the stairs here. If you don't, however, and in this case we don't, you can just mount up and run around the edge here. So I'm going to show you that right now, and I'll show you how to dodge the spine breaker and all that kind of stuff. So you can see the spine breaker in a ordinary pad at the moment because we want it to be at the other end when we skip. So we're just going to move all the way down this rock here. You can stand on this ledge. It walks right past you. You don't have to worry about aggro, but we just need the spine breaker to come all the way back. So the spine breaker walking back now, we're just going to wait for that to pass us. And then we're going to jump off and move around. Now we're pulling these 2 spine claws in front of us. We're pulling these down to the tentacle. So moving down to the tentacle here, you can see the tentacle, there's a canister behind it as well. And there's also the plague borers that will be coming out. The plague borers, if you don't actually tag them, will literally just hit the mark here and then run back. I've gripped one of them in though, because the idea is here we want to use the plague borer to blow up and kill the tentacle ASAP. Storming, really, really annoying here. So I'm just stunning the tentacle so it doesn't cast the bolts or pick anyone up. And then we're moving off to this next platform. So we've got another plague borer here, another 2 plague borers coming over here. So that canister was pretty much useless on that side. The wretched phlegm's coming out, so remember that's the slow that gets applied to you. As a druid, you can cleanse that off yourself. I don't know if it's cleanse or dispel, whatever the ability's called. You can see there though, so I got out of range there and it was going to start casting. So these are blowing up, so naturally you're running away. If you had a stun, I would be using a stun here as well. You can see that Humble had put Typhoon down as well to keep those borers on top of the tentacle there. So just moving out, and you can see the Vile Spit because no one was in melee range. So you can just get a kick and move straight back into it. Hard thing here if someone dies as well, guys, is to get a res off because the borers keep coming. So just make sure if you do need to get a res, your healer hops back sort of on the platform so they can get a res up. And then we're going to drag these plague borers straight through onto the named mob here, Virilax. And as I said, what we're going to do here is we're going to try and use the borers to kill him as quick as we can. I actually thought there was 2 canisters on each side of him. There's not. So it's the plague borers that we're going to be trying to use to kill him. So you can see he does this obliterating ooze. You just need to move out of the big green circle, and otherwise trying to get these plague borers on top of him for when they blow up. So you can see we finally got them in there. Really nice tip you can do is when they're about to die, if you've got a druid in your group, have them drop Trents. And then basically it'll just mean that you can get the hell out of the explosion. The Trents will stay in there and take it like champs, and then it'll explode. Now, what we're doing here is we had another 2 plague borers. You'll always get plague borers spawning from here. He's about to die. We're going to take these 2 plague borers down to the bottom here, and we're going to pull the trash in. Remember how I said our big aim here is to use the plague borers to kill one of these platforms, whichever one you've done. So go down if you can, if you've got a range, get them to pull one of the things so they start coming across and run back up. It means that you won't have to worry about the mobs propping up here to cast and things like that. If one of your range pulls them before you're there and runs up the stairs, it means they'll go out of cast range. It means they'll start trailing over. So when you get here, they're already sort of here, and then you can just kick and bring them in. Plague borers are going to explode, and we're going to be able to deal with a large portion of our trash damage here just via them. So you can see how quickly they just melted, and that's 1 platform done. So it's a really, really handy way to get through this section a hell of a lot quicker by making use of those plague borers. So I actually, we had some of the guys sort of move over to the other side of the platform there. I was actually always just going to stay over here just because the boss jumps over there. There's a little bit of a miscommunication there. This was kind of just a pickup group for the night. So yeah, no issues. It was fine. It's just the boss leaps around platforms. So I generally pull both of those packs from each platform back to this centralized one, as I know the boss can't leap here. You can see I've been rooted by that gripping infection that went off. So a little bit awkward there. Yeah. The bolts going off, kicking whatever bolts we can, and you can see the slime. I remember I was saying I didn't know if the slime cast anything. It just does this viral globs over and over and over again. So it was inspired, so we couldn't interrupt it. But once the inspired's dead, we're able to interrupt it. So just get whatever interrupts you can down on these platforms, and then we're going to move off around the back here, and we're going to grab the spine breaker and the plague binder. And then we're going to get our next prideful, our 60% prideful, to take into Ikis. So again, just watching out for the frontal from the spine breaker, dodging the jagged spines that come out of the ground, interrupting whatever pestilent bolts we can. And we're going to kill these. Remember when the spine breaker dies as well, guys, you've got these metamorphosis maggot things that you need to run over. They deal damage as well. So just going to start running over these. If you've got AMS, if you've got any immunity, you can use for those. Otherwise, just don't go too ham on them. The damage isn't that bad to require an immunity, actually. But yeah, you just don't go running over all of them, especially if you're at low health really quickly. So Humble somehow got clapped, and he's just running back. So we're just waiting for him. We're also 0.17% short from that Plague Rock because we should have spawned our Prideful there. So what we're actually going to do is improvise. We're going to go grab this single slime down here. I'm going to grip that up, and then we're going to run this all the way back up here, and we're going to kill that to get our Prideful, because if we hadn't have stuffed up with the Plague Rock, killing that last Spine Breaker would have given us Prideful right there. But yeah, we're still making this work. So Prideful, you guys know how that works. We're going to get through Prideful ASAP here, and then we're going to go straight into Ikis. So Prideful we've got now. Ikis is jumping straight back to us. Perfect timing. And we are going. So Ikis, remember what I said, is just about making sure that you manage the explosion, the purple ooze, and that's pretty much it. So slime injection coming out. If you had AMS available, you can AMS that, and you can avoid the injection doing any damage or any worries there. There's also going to be one little ad that you need to worry about, and you just need to run over it. So you can see here, this little green circle, it's going to spawn out of that, and it's going to cast Erupt. All you need to just do is just run over it, basically. So you run over it, it explodes, it's done. So Ikis is going to jump to the second platform. Once we get over here, he throws the ooze over here, and it does this bomb. So you've got the bomb. This is what your group needs to kill. They got 30 seconds to kill it before it explodes. So we're just going to get everybody to switch to that, and then the purple ooze is going to come out. So this is the purple ooze, the congealed ooze. This is the 75% damage reduction one that you don't want to have anywhere overlapping the bomb to reduce the damage. So what we've done is, remember how I said depending on key level, you don't want to deal with two of them. If this was a really high Plaguefall key and it was tyrannical, we would most likely elect to kill the first one, and then because we would end up getting two, CC the second one. Because it's not a high Plaguefall key and it's fortified, what we've done is the oozes come out, we've typhooned it off to the side, and then we're going to hard CC it out there. So everyone is killing the bomb at the moment. Here's the ooze. It's been punted out. It's then been rooted. And now we're just going to go and clap the bomb. And then we're going to keep smashing the boss down. So I don't know what happened. It ended up getting broken. But we just got a stun on it out there. And we've just, we've kind of been able to trail it. And because we're not going to have to worry about two realistically, or not having to worry about it being up for a long time, we kind of elected to do that on the first one just to get more damage into the first boss. Safer option though is 100%, just as I said, kill bomb, kill purple ooze, and then on the second purple ooze, go for your hard CC option there. But this one didn't work out too bad. There's so much sort of passive cleave and dot damage going out onto Ikis as well. You can see there, that was when I wasn't in range. He does the burning strain cast. So it's about to come up. It's about to come up. There it is. So I'm actually get close enough to him now, but if this happens, just interrupt it, and then once you're next to him, it won't go off again. So slime here again, we get another typhoon out, stun it, and we're just going to finish up the boss. So you can absolutely manage the purple slimes that way, if you've got the ability to. If you've got vortexes, things like that, just make sure you're running over the eruption one. Otherwise, safe option, just kill it each time. It completely depends on what you want to do with your group. It is obviously a damage sink and a time waste though if you are killing the purple oozes, rather than if you can manage it just drilling the boss down. So let's go back to MDT now. So we've just finished up Ikis, and now we are moving on to this section. So we pulled this slime down here, not the tentacle. We pulled this slime all the way back to here to proc our prideful. You won't need to do that because you won't be monkeys and let that slime claw run off and aggro that plague rock. So your percent will be perfect. So you'll kill Ikis, you'll run down the stairs, and you'll do this slime with this tentacle here. So same stuff, no issues there. Then what you're going to do is you're going to run out into this middle island here. Now this middle island can be a little bit dicey, not lying. So there's going to be a flesh giant, same from the start with the creepy crawlies cast you got to watch out for. There's going to be two new mobs, the Defender of Many Eyes. There's going to be a sniper, there's going to be a slime, and there's going to be a venom blade. So these Defenders of Many Eyes, they cast this Bulwark of Maldraxxus. It's a 90% DR shield to anything that is within it, so you just need to watch out for that. They also do a shield bash, which is like a fervent strike, so you just need to make sure that you as the tank are in range of them when they're not doing that. With Bulwark of Maldraxxus, you can grip them off it, you can asphyxiate them, you can in-cap roar them, you can leg sweep them, you can stormbolt them, you can fear them. Whatever you've got to disorientate them, blinding light, just make sure you do that so these shields aren't going off. You can also, as a DK, control undead them as well if you wanted to take one out of the mix if that was a problem for you, so know that you can do that. The Venom Fang is just going to have this dot poison that it puts on people. They don't do too much to worry about. The Sniper is just going to shoot people. And then you've got your Slime here as well. So, yeah. This platform with storming was a little bit dicey. Sanguine as well is a little bit dicey out here. But just know that you do have your options if you want to MC one of these as a DK. But otherwise, just making sure these Bulwark of Maldraxxus get knocked over quickly or disorientated and off quickly is the biggest thing. Once they're dead, we're going to run through the slime here. Don't aggro any more tentacles. We're going to run through the slime here. We're going to take this Defender, this slime, down to this Brood Ambusher. So this Brood Ambusher is another new mob that you're going to see. They'll do this enveloping webbing. You need to kick that, otherwise someone is going to get encased in a web. The other thing they'll do is Stealthlings. They'll do this Stealthling cast. A little purple arrow will kind of shoot out and it'll go onto the ground. There will be a bunch of Stealthling mobs starting to charge up an ambush there. You need to run over to that area, use some AoE, D&D, Blood Boil, Thunderclaps, Spinning Crane Kicks, Rushing Jade Winds. You get where I'm going here. Consecrations, Flares, whatever you've got, get them out. And then you can use a Disorientate, a Stun on them to stop that ambush from going off. Mass Grip also works and things like that, just so they don't ambush and kill someone, basically. Once you've done that, you're going to pull either of these packs on this side. Generally wouldn't advise pulling them together because I only ever want one ambusher at a time. It's far safer that way unless you're a very coordinated big dups group. So pick whichever side you're going to pull. You're going to pull one of these. So on this one, again, you've got a defender, you've got a sniper, and you've got an ambusher. Remember the ambusher, kick the enveloping mist and make sure you get the stealthlings. The stealthlings are the thing that's generally going to kill people. And you've got a venom fang. Then you're going to go over to the other side, another defender with the bulwark, the ambusher with the stealthlings, the sniper, and a venom fang. Once you kill this pack, you will trigger your 80% prideful to go into the third boss, which is Domina Venom Blade. Couldn't remember what the name was. So 80% prideful and into Domina. Now Domina is the world's shittest lock picker. So what you're going to do, Domina's all the way down here at the door. You want to pull Domina back into the kind of middle of this encounter space. It's just going to make your life a lot easier on the stealthling phases or the assassin phases. So that's what I like to do, have a hunter MD or whatever, and just pull it back towards the middle of the encounter area. Domina is going to hit you with this Cytotoxic Slash. So if you've got AMS ready and you've got a timer for this, look when the slash is about to go off, use AMS before it hits. If AMS holds, it'll actually immune the debuff from that. Otherwise, if it goes off, just make sure that you're rolling active mitigation, you're rolling some cooldowns, just to make sure you do live for that. The higher the key it goes, obviously, the more this hurts. Throughout the encounter, someone that's not you as the tank will get targeted by a big purple circle. This is their ability called Shadow Ambush. That targeted player just needs to make sure they move that purple circle, not out to Narnia, just out to the side so it's not overlapping anyone else, because when it goes off, it'll stun them, and then you as the tank or someone in your group just needs to move out to them so they can be freed, and then they can move back in. She will also spawn assassins that are located in the spider webs that go around the encounter space. So they'll be kind of littered anywhere around the encounter space. You and your group either need to move as one unit through them and using AoE as you get to each web to break the stealthlings out, or you can move in pairs and do it. So whichever way you want, you just can't go alone for too long. Otherwise you'll get encased in a web if you go out on your own for too long. You have to kind of stay in pairs. So warriors can thunderclap, hunters can flare, volley, as I said, any form of AoE. You can turn around and drop D&D on one, whatever you've got to do. Druids can just run around swiping and thrashing, just to break them out, and then you want to bring them in and kill them ASAP. The longer they're up, they'll actually stack a debuff on your group, which hurts a lot, so you want to break them out quickly and get them dead. So that's pretty much it. So let's go back to the VOD. Let's cover this part off. So coming down here, remember we would have a slime here if we didn't screw it up. So we're just going to kill this tentacle. You guys know how the tentacle works, so really not too much going down here. We're going to kill that. You can see Crushing Embrace goes off here. It's going to go off. So I'm just going to get a stun on it really quickly, which kills that channel. So as I said, it can pick someone up. When it does, stun it as quick as you can. So we're going to finish this up, and then we're moving out into this middle island. Now, as I said, the middle island, pretty ugly. So you can see a bulwark is already happening here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grip that one off. If we're going to make sure we interrupt the creepy crawlers here, you can mass grip all of these as well if you had like a double bulwark going off as well. But here we got a cap totem that went down into the mass grip. These are nearly dead. I'm going to single grip that bulwark off here. And then we're just going to finish this up. So you can see as things die, the green crap that gets put on the ground can make this island run out of space really quickly, especially when you combine that with sanguine and things like that. So just be really aware of that. So next we're going to mount up. We're not going to pull any of these extra tentacles. We're going to pull these two here down to this bottom stealthy, or actually was supposed to be what we were going to do, but we end up killing them both up here. And then we go down and pull the stealthing by itself. Should have chained these down to the bottom. That's a bit of a waste of time to prop up there instead of moving all the way down. So we're moving down here, and then this is going to be this ambusher that's just chilling out here. So again, the ambusher, the enveloping web, something that we want to kick. So here it is here, kick it. And then what we're going to do is wait for the stealthling cast. So here comes the, No. Here it comes here. Stealthlings. You can always see where you can stun this as well, but it will just automatically recast it. You can see where the stealthlings go. We're just going to make sure we get off there. Now you can put a vortex down and go and typhoon them to make sure that the ambush gets cancelled. Otherwise, if you don't have that option, you can put a vortex down. When they ambush out of it, it'll trigger the vortex and they'll go back into it. Same would work with binding shot. So then we're just going to go and pull the other side here. There's an inspired mob in here. It's the sniper here, so they'll have that cool venom fang as well. I don't think I covered. The really annoying thing here is because the sniper is the inspired one, couldn't get the bulwark of Maldraxxus off. But what we should have done, and I tried to control undead it, but I'm an idiot because of inspiring. What I should have done as the DK is control undead the sniper, kill the defender of many eyes, so we don't have to worry about bulwark. Once that's dead, release this sniper and then kill them both. That would have been the smart play. You can CC them as well, but otherwise, yeah, I mean, it's 90% DR. It's a waste of time. You can see enveloping web going off as well because we've got the inspiring mob up. So this pull, a little bit messy. When it's not inspiring week, obviously, it's not a big problem for you and you don't have to worry about it though. So we're going to finish these. These ambushes are going to go off unless we have a knock. So we have a knock and a cap totem, so we don't need to worry about them. So they die pretty quickly, no worries. And then we're off to the other side. So I am going to MC here just to make life easier. I'm going to MC the Bulwark of Maldraxxus, the Defender of Eyes, so I don't need to worry about that. And then we're just going to kill this pack here. And this will be our 80% prideful going into the third boss as well. So we're just getting these down as quick as we can. The stealthling cast going off here, so looking where they go. Managing the stealthlings is, if someone's going to die on these pulls, generally it's going to be with the stealthlings ambush, because they generally ambush all the one person. Deals a fair bit of damage and generally goes south pretty quickly. So we're going to finish up those. I was going to hold on to my MC'd mob as well, but then you have a look at this and we end up being 0.3 short of prideful, so then I have to release it, so enormous waste of time there. So we kill this one, spawn our 80% prideful, pew pew pew, and then we're on to Domina Venom Blade here. So pulling it back towards, you know, the middle of the encounter space here, just to make my life easy. Here comes the slash. So I was late on AMS there. You can see I've got it up. So here's the timer for it. Like big wigs, DBM, all this little wigs, sorry, have this. This is what you want to be paying attention to. I'm late, okay? So the slash gets on me and then I use AMS on the dot. I want to use AMS before it. So it's coming now. Should have AMS now. Late. Yeah, not great, but it's okay. It's not like it's dealing a lot of damage to me on fort. So here is the shadow ambush. So just moving out there with the purple circle so no one gets stunned by it. Then moving over to the person that gets ambushed so you don't have to worry about that. Then moving in groups, in a group or twos here, just to get the ambushes out of the webs here. And then stacking them up as quick as we can just to make sure that you can kill them ASAP. You can see the dot that goes out from the assassins onto people. The longer they're up, the more dots that go out, the more damage, the more issues your healer is going to have. So just again, moving out with the ambush there, then moving on to the person, staying as a group so no one's getting webbed out on their own. This boss was has, I think, had maybe two rounds of nerfs. It was pretty rough when it first sort of kicked off. Not so bad now. Sometimes you can get really lucky with web placements as well. If the web placements are like this one that spawns here, you can just drop a D&D over to cover two of them there, and then just move over and blood boil for these last ones, bringing them back into the boss. I'm not sure what happened there. Possibly may have got melee. The assassins, you know, they'll hit people. You need to try and pick them up as a tank. So you can see I still didn't even have aggro on one of them there, which is pretty poor. And we're just going to get them down ASAP, and then we're going to finish off the boss, and that's it. So then we're dropping down to our last phase here, or our last section of this dungeon. So going back to MDT here. So when Domina dies, we're going to drop down into the sanctum here. What we're going to do though is we're going to drop down into this pool here, and we're going to hard it into this corridor here, and we're going to pull these three slimes here. Now you're going to get a congealed slime here. Remember, that's the damage reduction slime. Shouldn't have too many issues on these slimes though. Just pull them all. Try and separate out the purple one if you can. You know, if you pull them all, drag them down here, and then as the DK, go and grip grip the congealed one out here and get someone to like put a slow here or a typhoon or something like that. Once you've gripped it out, you can generally manage these pretty easy. But we're going to kill these 3 slimes. Then we're going to come back through the pool and we're going to move down into this final area here. Now, none of these mobs really do anything interesting. They melee really hard, so don't face tank them is the biggest advice I can give you. Get aggro, run away. The name mob down here, Ikis, you just need to make sure that you're kicking the bolt that comes out of him. If you want to move Ikis as well, you need to be within melee range when you interrupt to have Ikis move with you anywhere. Otherwise, if you kick and you're all the way back here, he'll just stand there. So when the last pack's dying, just make sure that you move Ikis slightly away, because that's when you're going to spawn your 100% prideful. And that's when you're going to make sure that he's away, kill your prideful, go on to last boss. Now, to drop down into this section as well, to drop down after Venom Blade here, you need 81.5% as a minimum. If you are 81%, you are going to end up 0.5% short. So make sure you're that. Then we're on to the last boss, which is Margrave. Now, Margrave is an interesting boss, all right? You just need to pay attention for this one. There's going to be an ad that spawns out of the boss. As the tank, you need to run to that location and get that ad while staying in melee range of the boss. There's going to be a circle that goes around that ad. Only you as the tank need to stand in that, no one else. But make sure that you pay attention, because if no one's in the circle, you're all going to die. So as the tank, where the ad goes, you run round, you stand in the circle. You're going to have to dodge the tentacle slaps, so just pay attention to those. There's going to be 3 ads that spawn throughout this fight and walk towards you. Actually, I think there ends up being more than that, but it's 3 each time. What you can do here as a DK is control undead one of those ads that spawns out of the bosses, which is a huge quality of life, because then you don't have to manage 3, you only have to manage 2. As the tank, be sure that you are taunting the little ads that walk around. They do have an aggro table. If you don't taunt them and you don't have aggro, they'll get next to one of your melee when they're dodging the slimes, and it will slap them and most likely one-shot them. So be aware of that. They melee really hard. Don't face tank more than 1 at a time as well. Have your group be killing them while they're running around dodging slimes, and that's pretty much it. The last thing here is Infectious Rain, which will be cast by Margrave. This deals a huge amount of damage, so make sure you're helping your healer out here if you're a DK, AMZ, and things like that. Otherwise, you're going to be wanting to use slinks and things like that to make it through this. When the damage gets going out on like the 3rd, 4th Infectious Rain, there's quite a bit of damage. So that's pretty much it, guys. So let's watch the end of this dungeon. So you can see here we are 81%. What do we want to be? 81.5 as a minimum. So we're moving down here. We're going to drop down here and we're going to get our 3 slimes in this corridor. So remember, the middle one is the congealed one that I was talking about, and there's one right up the top, which can be a little bit annoying to get. I'm getting line of sight issues here trying to get the top one. So just get a ranged or somebody to pull the top one for you. And otherwise, just make sure you get the congealed one down ASAP otherwise. And then, otherwise you can just sort of kite them out. This is a really, really annoying area for storming as well. Everything's annoying for storming, but this area is really bad. So you can see we got the congealed one down fairly quickly, and then we're just going to finish up the other 2. And then we're going to move back through and we're going to move down into this bottom area. So these devoted mobs, as I said, they melee fairly hard. The first 2, not so bad. But the big groups down the bottom, just be really aware of them. There's no need to face tank them at all. You just want to be pulling them and moving away pretty much. Ikis is going to be in each pack and is pretty much going to teleport around. So again, just make sure you're kicking the pestilent bolts when you can. You can see here, I'm just getting aggro on these devoteds. Treants are going down, so I'm not worrying about it. But as soon as treants are finished, I'm just getting out of there. Kicking whatever pestilent bolts you can. So there died. He's going to blink over to this one, and then he goes into that pack. We've also pulled this pack over to the side as well. They move really slowly. The main thing is you as the tank don't get slapped and no one else gets slapped, and then you just keep kicking Ikis whenever you can. Now I'm going to show you the melee thing as well. So I'm all the way up the back here. We get a kick, but no one's in melee range, or the tank with aggro isn't in melee range. So he doesn't move. So I, as the DK Speedy, need to get all the way over to where Ikis is to be able to get him to move. So he's going to do his ghost step again. He doesn't have any trash to skip to, so he's going to go all the way back there. Huge waste of time here. So if he doesn't have any trash packs to go to, just make sure you stay in place with that go step so you can then get a kick and you can move him back. So moving him up the back here, thought this was going to be prideful, 0.5% short. We just say stuff it and we do the last boss without prideful. So moving into the last boss now, but you would kill your prideful and then you would move into the last boss. So moving into Margrave here. Okay, so we're going to wait for the ad to spawn out of Margrave here. So waiting. Here comes the ad. So as the tank, moving straight around, making sure you get aggro on the spawn here. Staying in melee range of the boss. Here comes the circle that the tank just needs to stand in. There it is. No worries. Infectious Rain coming out, the first one. First one, not a lot of damage. You can see how much damage it does though. You want to kill this spawn ASAP. So we've had 2 slaps there, which is fine, but you do want to kill this ASAP. So first intermission, this is dodging the tentacle slams. So, and we're getting the 3 devoted ads. So I am going to control undead on one of these devoted ads, which just means we don't have to manage 3 of them. And then the group is just going to be killing these devoted ads while dodging the slime tentacles. So just watch where the slime tentacles are, guys, and just dodge them. It's 100% just about paying attention to what's going on. So then the boss is going to pop back up and we're going to do the exact same thing again as the tank. We're waiting for where the ad's going to pop up, the spawn. There's the spawn over the other side. We're going to leg it over to the other side. We're going to make sure that we're on the spawn because that's where the circle's going to be. I'm putting AMZ down for this Infectious Rain when it comes out. So Infectious Rain's coming out now. We can stand in the AMZ. It reduces a hell of a lot of the damage here and it's not a problem. Making sure nobody else is in that circle as no one else needs to be. It's just the tank. It's not spread damage or anything like that. Just get your tank standing in there. Second spawn is coming up now to the left. So making sure I move over there. As the tank, really important that you are paying attention to where the spawn is coming up, because if you're not and the no one's in that slam, you will wipe your group. So just be really aware of that. 3 more devoted ads coming up on the intermission here. So just moving around for these tentacle slaps here. Just making sure, again, that you are taunting these devoted ads when they come up, because remember, there is an aggro table on them. If people are dodging, which they have to run around the encounter space here to dodge tentacles, and a devoted goes past them and you don't have aggro, they will get slapped and they will die. So something really important there. So that's the second intermission that's over. And now we're on to our last one. Boss would have been, you know, not an issue. I mean, it wasn't an issue anyway, but prideful obviously is a huge bonus to have on this boss, which is why I really like this route so much. So we are 0.5% short, so we're going to run all the way back up to the top here. If this happens to you, don't worry, you can get all the way back up to the top. So we're going to run up to the right here. We're going to take this teleporter. It's going to take us back up to the top. And then we're just going to go up and we're going to kill, there's a tentacle mob and another mob. The tentacle doesn't give any percent, but the defender of Maldraxxus here, or the defender of many eyes, sorry, not the defender of Maldraxxus, the defender of eyes here, he does give percent. So we're just going to kill him. Make sure we get the bulwark off quickly. We're going to kill him. We're going to get our last percent. And that's it. So hopefully this has given you a fair insight into Plaguefall, guys, and making you feel comfortable with it. If you've got any questions whatsoever, hit me up in the comments below. Come find me on Discord. Come say hi on Twitch. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for checking out the video. I'll see you all next time. See you, fam.